Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year from the Metabreakers Podcast. Warshack, I'm joined today by very high caliber players as always. We got DmoneyGames and DracoCatt. How's it going, guys? Hopefully you had a good holidays.
Hey, man, nice to see you. I had a wonderful holiday. How about you, Dan?
That sounded like it was like scripted, but it wasn't. Okay. Well, hello. It was pretty good. I played Italian bingo with my family. It's called Tombola. And then we played a game of Scattergories, which is a pretty fun word game. And yeah, just nice to see the family over Zoom, of course. And yeah, just
Scattergories is hilarious. Have you ever played that game, Warshack?
I have no idea either of those games, especially the Italian bingo.
Is a game where you have to be filling in the blanks with words that fit a criteria that start with a certain letter. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
It'll be like, okay, you need to come up with something that a farmer has that starts with G. And you're like, green beans. You know, like you just keep going with these things. But then it ends up being pretty hilarious because then like one of your family members will be like, golf pants, you know? Because they always go golfing because all the farmers I've met used to like golfing and
oh my god.
Yeah, you gotta try to argue your answer sometimes. And everybody didn't like me because I was
so damn creative.
I was very difficult to like get like people would say like it would be like animal with an R and they would say like red fox or something like that. And like yeah, the main word is like fox. Like the main thing is fox, but like red is like it's like describing it. So it's like I can't really. I don't want to. I was very hard on people when it came to giving them points, but like everybody would vote on it. So everybody was mad at me for being so hard on them. So when it came to voting on mine, everybody would vote against me. That's always how it goes. Because I want a fair game. I want to I play by the rules. So I'm not gonna let you get away with bullshit. All right. When I play, even if it's like a casual game with my family, it doesn't. I'm still
casual. This sounded like ranked mode, dude.
Yeah, it sounds like
this was competitive Christmas spirit.
It's not his fault. And this is all too familiar for everyone here.
I'm a gamer, all right? If it's a board game, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything, all right? I want it to be a good game. And I don't care if I win. You know, if I win, that of course enhances the experience for everybody. But yeah, I'm going to I wanna make sure that we're playing by the rules. And I want to keep everyone on their toes, all right? You're not getting away with bullshit. Same thing with anything else in my life, all right? Come on.
Okay.
So it was a good holiday. Yeah. What's up? How's yours?
Well,
How's yours, Rob?
I streamed. No, I spent the like an hour or two with my dad and my sister and gave them their presents and whatnot. And then I came home, I ate some Christmas food. My mom dropped off a lot of ham, so I had some ham. And then I streamed.
Oh, yeah.
It was a good Christmas. Couldn't really complain at all.
It's like a pretty chill Christmas, man.
Yeah.
Ham would literally make my whole entire Christmas. Yeah.
We were entertaining my parents for the last couple days, which was nice, you know, because we like had Christmas at our place. We just like woke up and like made mimosas, opened gifts, you know, did kind of like a small thing. Didn't really see anyone.
If you guys are wondering who like when he's saying our, it's not me and him. It's him and his fiance. All right.
Our.
What? All right. Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, D-Money and I are not together, despite what everyone else may believe. Anyway, yeah, it was pretty nice though. It was pretty chill. And now, we have the place to ourselves, and I still have like the next day off from work and stuff. So it's kind of just like we're in the holiday zone, continuing. It's great. It's just it's wonderful. So
cool.
Life is
any
good.
cool gifts? Anybody get any cool gifts?
Yes.
I
got lights for underneath of this. Like these weren't here before.
Oh,
that's go with the color of everything before. So,
dude, your setup is always so sick. Like it always just looks so clean. You do a great job.
I appreciate you.
I'm very jealous.
Thanks, guys.
You have Amelia.
I have Emilio. True. I got nothing actually. I got nothing
I
for the
don't wait.
holidays. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Actually,
if you-
I got one present from my best friend. It's a small gift, but
Was it
that's
socks?
no, it was actually a pretty cool gift. It's like my album Live Your Life. It's like on like a plaque kind of thing. It's like how like people have like the platinum kind of records for their tracks, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like a thing for Live Your Life, my album. So
Very
that's
cool.
pretty cool. But that's the only gift I got. Yeah. So if anybody wants to send me anything, I'll drop my Cash App below.
try being less competitive on family board games.
That's
Maybe
what
you
it
get some
was, yeah.
gifts.
Everybody had their
yeah.
gift ready for me, but I ruined it, so they refunded it. Yeah.
Oh, I got a candy cane full of Fireball, which sounds crazy, dude. Just let me show
Oh,
you.
that's
1
cool.
second.
Now we're gonna ask him to chug the candy
Yes.
cane.
Maybe we could get him nerfing Demon Hunter. Yeah.
Oh shit! They're
wow.
like fireball shots. Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Bro, that's lit.
Yeah, I didn't know they made these. This is for my grandma.
What?
Wow.
I was just like, how did you know?
Dude, that sounds like a
All right.
dope ass
Sorry.
grandma.
Sorry about that tangent. Thought that was important.
Yeah, but to the
Yeah,
meta.
You have to take a shot every time we see Demon Hunter on top every week. All right.
Give me your grandma, please. Yes, yes. So the meta.
Yeah, not really surprising here. Shaman #1 by like a pretty solid margin for the most part. Paladin,
It's
Hunter,
incredible.
Rogue.
This whole entire stream or this whole entire show, Shaman has been at the bottom. And look at
Yes.
it now. It's number
Mhm.
1. They grew up so fast.
And the thing is,
Yeah.
when Shaman's bad, it's really bad. But when it's good, it's so obnoxious. Sorry, D-Money. What were you gonna say?
No, you're doing well. Keep going.
No, that was it.
Yeah, I think
totally
what
right.
Rob was trying to say is that when Shaman is bad, it stays bad forever. And when Shaman is good, it feels really toxic to play against. Right? Is that what you're
Yep.
going to say?
Yep.
Because the last time Shaman was super great, before now, was Galakron Shaman. And Galakron Shaman, before it got nerfed, was, I believe, the strongest deck ever in the entire game.
Before Demon Hunter.
I think it was actually more powerful win rate wise than Demon Hunter straight out of the front gate. Yeah.
I don't know about that one. It must be very close.
At one point it had like a 74% win rate.
I feel like that's what Demon Hunter had.
Maybe. I think they were both very close. I think Demon Hunters was in the high 60s, actually. And everyone was. But anyway.
Well, yeah,
we could all look this up. We should look this up, right? I mean, but maybe it would take a while to do that. Anyway.
Well, regardless, yes, Shaman has been killing it. I know my boy David was playing Evolve Shaman yesterday, and during his drunk stream, and he was still winning games. Like he could not even like formulate a sentence, but he could formulate a win.
That's hilarious.
Didn't matter.
What
Didn't matter if he
content?
played out of order. Didn't matter if he didn't realize he could have got down like an extra Sea Giant or whatever. You just play. You play your minions. You draw the weapons. You play the weapons. You win. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward deck. And the thing is, I don't like when straightforward decks are just broken. You know,
that is the best stream title ever. I just wanted to say that. Can't formulate sentences, but can formulate wins. That's
Yeah, it was really good.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's such a straightforward deck, and it's so easy to play, and it seems like it's just too good. It's pretty sad that we didn't see a change to it to like Box by Knuckles last time, but we're probably going to talk about it later and how that could be changed. But
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's killing it.
the one thing that a lot of people criticize about the meta that we have right now is the fact that nerfing Demon Hunter did kind of show what would have happened to most people that played the game. Like we all could have kind of predicted that, like, okay, if you hit aggro Demon Hunter and Demon Hunter in general really hard, then Shaman's going to be the best deck in the game by far, and it's not going to be great. And everyone was kind of able to predict that in the community, but for somehow the balance team didn't catch up to that or didn't think about that. Where they said the Highlander Hunter nerf was, what is the word? Preemptive, which was a deck that was also good against Shaman. I don't know. It seems like they tried to solve the Hunter problem, but created the Shaman problem.
Yeah, with a mechanic that we've seen in Shaman for years. Like, this isn't even like a new mechanic, the Desert Hare evolve, or to like cheap minions out for 0 and evolve them. And the thing about evolve is it feels terrible to play against, right? Because every turn you don't know what they could turn into. It turns into a taunt, a divine shield, a poisonous, a rush, a lifesteal, a charge. Who the fuck knows? And that's a terrible way to like lose, and it's impossible to play around. And like we were talking before the podcast as well, and Draco had mentioned he was playing it, and he said it didn't even feel good to win with it. And that's overall probably just not very healthy.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some aspects of playing around. You can play around Shaman more than you can play around OTK Demon Hunter, just by playing like Sticky Fingers and Oozes. But then the problem is if you're playing those cards in your deck, then you're going to be having those dead cards against like every other matchup except for like Warrior maybe or Demon Hunter.
Winning with OTK Demon Hunter feels glorious. Winning with Shaman feels okay. Like it's a night and day difference.
Yeah, definitely more work to get there with OTK Demon Hunter for sure.
A lot of planning.
Yeah,
some mathematical skills.
And
discarding win conditions when you deemed worthy.
You have to have a calculator. Yes,
maybe a calculator. Yeah, nah, dude. I don't even think there are many decks in the game that felt bad to win with. That's a hard thing to think about. Like even Rogue doesn't feel bad to win with.
Yes, it does. In my opinion. I mean, when you get a 10-10 on turn 1, or a 12-12 on turn 2, you feel kind of bad.
That's not a bad feeling win. To some people, like, you think like, oh man, Edwin's been in the game forever. Run silence in your deck. Get over it. My game. You know, like that's
There's different ways of thinking, but
I don't think
usually
Rogue is not a problem. I hate it also. But
usually when it feels bad to win with, it's OP, and Shaman I think falls in that, and I think Rogue also does because of the huge Edwins that you can get, and just generating the wins like every other game. I've seen so many people post on Twitter about how Rogue is like they get to number 1 and they say Rogue is busted. Same thing with Shaman. It's they're both in my mind just too good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's awful. I hate it.
And then we see Paladin number 2 and D-Money. I saw you had posted a pretty spicy Paladin list. Was this you pumping this up to number 2?
That's all me. Yeah. I did play like 40 games with Highlander Paladin yesterday, and pushed to the highest I got was rank 12 with it.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
It's been really fun, and it's been like very solid. And yeah, I always try to be at the top ranks. I tweeted this out yesterday. I try to be at the top ranks with things that are not the top decks, and not or things that people don't play a lot. So it's really nice to still be able to do that. Like I still take like an auto loss against Shaman sometimes, or OTK Demon Hunter is very tough. But yeah, just being able to compete at the high levels with a deck like that feels really good. And I know you like Highlander Paladin quite a bit.
Yeah,
Warshack.
It's a fun one. It's different.
I think the problem with the meta right now is that everything's built around dealing with Shaman and Rogue. Just kind of like the way people built around Demon Hunter was by putting healing in their deck, and like ways to control the game and stabilize, which is kind of a different kind of deck building, where it's like you have early game answers, then you have late game heals, you know. And now we just see like every fucking deck has sticky fingers in it, like that, and every deck has a whole bunch of silence in it. And that's, I don't know. I don't like the way that when the decks, when the meta gets built around like heavy weapon removal, like sticky fingers and having to get rid of the box spine knuckles. I think that's kind of the problem with the way it's coming out right now.
Yeah, it's basically those cards are like auto includes in every deck, is what you're saying, I think.
In every deck that's successful, like
Yes.
every single top legend deck I've seen this week, because I've been trying to find like really good demon hunter decks, and a lot of them have sticky fingers and shit in it, and it's like,
Yeah, and that is because the deck is overrepresented, and that's because it's too good, pretty much. Yeah.
I don't like doing deck building around other decks, and that's just such a bummer for me. That like, in order to like compete right now, I have to build a deck that beats Evolve Shaman.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I build the deck, it's like, how am I ever gonna beat OTK Demon Hunter with this?
Well,
Like,
you
because
just-
I face
I don't know
a
if you
lot
can
of
do that,
opponents.
right? Like, you just kind of have to hope they draw bad or aren't playing, right?
I mean, that's why I added Frizz into my Highlighter Mage, because I need to get going faster, like that, or else I'm just literally forfeiting that matchup. So that's like, you always got to think about like how you're gonna do against the decks that you play against the most. So for me, it's like Demon Hunter, Shaman, and Rogue. So I always have to think about how I'm gonna deal with the Rogue minions, how I'm gonna deal with the weapon, Box Spine, and all that.
All
that
the games
jazz,
I
but-
lose with OTK Demon Hunter aren't against fair decks, like the decks you like to play, D-Money. Except for the Mind Renderer Lucia. That entire thing is so fucking annoying. Like, the whole entire game comes around like playing one card.
Yeah.
Like, the priest matchups are just not enjoyable for either side, I feel.
Yep.
Quick
I feel like that's
interruption.
the word.
We had a huge raid from our boy Misplay. Thank you, Misplay, and welcome everybody here from Misplay's channel. This is the Metabreakers Podcast. We're talking about Hearthstone. Our subject right now is the overall meta. We're talking about, I believe, where Demon Hunter stands.
I think we're talking about OTK Demon Hunter.
OTK Demon Hunter.
D-Money hates OTK Demon Hunter. So this always becomes a feature of the episode. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that raid, though. That raid was definitely not a misplay. Yeah.
Very good.
Thanks. Never heard that one before, did you? Yeah, that's right.
Do you want to pivot into top 1K?
Yes, I
we can just
do.
that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to be taking a look at the top 1K best decks, and this is across, I believe, all 3 servers. World Kick number 1, Evolve right behind it, less than 0.5%.
At this at all?
No, not really. The only thing that I see here that kind of surprises me is the Enrage Warrior. I haven't seen a ton of it, but I'm guessing that's, again, because I'm not in the top 1K.
It's
Yeah,
good.
I see a decent amount of it.
It's real good.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's surprised to see those top 2 decks. I mean, I'm really not. That's like 50% of my games. No joke. And yeah, those are the decks that I think are very strong. Secret Rogue and World Kick Rogue. I still think Secret is better. But World Kick has been just pulling out things out of its ass. I mean, when you generate the right cards, you win the game. So, yeah, both decks really good. Really
Honestly,
not surprised to see anything on here. Yeah,
the World Kick is starting to kind of feel like old style Tempo Mage with like the big swing turns with like Mana Cyclone, but they just use the World Kick now instead. I don't know. It just feels like kind of similar in regards to like they just throw up a shit ton of minions. They've got, you know, the questings that get big, which are kind of like the Sea Giants. Yeah, Rogue is just very, very just explosive, and that's
Rogue is the new mage for sure.
Yeah,
like they generate a shitload of cards, and nobody really talks about it. You know, the people that play Rogue and they hated on Mage before, they're just going la-di-da with their day and just generating the wins and just yeah. Rogue is so good. Yeah, I love Rogue. Yeah, but when Mage was doing it, you know, it wasn't cool. You know, hey, I'm just saying.
I had this really funny conversation with someone on Twitter in regards to what you guys are talking about, where it turned into all you have to deal with is this, and I believe it was all you have to deal with like one is 2 questing adventures, 1 Eddwin, and 2 Jandices. And then they were like, but what about when they discover the other Eddwin off of the World Kick? And then it was like, but what about when they discover the power of creation off of the Wand Thief? And then it just like turned into this like gigantic long thread of everyone kind of extending the possible amounts of threats that you can create in a rogue deck, and it was unsurmountable.
There's a lot of generation, and yeah, One Thief is really not helping. The fact that they gave that to Rogue, oof, that's a big oof.
I mean, and Mage, and they're both guilty, right? Like the biggest randomly
Sure.
generators are Priest, Mage, and Rogue.
Yeah, but it's like Mage is not even good, and like Rogue is good because they use Mage spells. Because they get the Mage cards.
But if Mage isn't
yeah,
good, then why are... Hold on.
Yeah, there's so much that you could get with Rogue. It's crazy. You have the Wand Thieves, you have the Lackeys, which could generate into anything. It could give you dragons, could give you spells. I think once Lackeys get out of the game, it's going to be a lot less randomness, and that's super good for the game. So I'm excited about that. But
It's gonna get weird with Lackeys out of the game. I haven't even started to think about the concept of the upcoming rotation. I mean, it's not that far at this time, and this is usually when we start to have those conversations. But I look forward to the fact now that we have this podcast that we can dive into all of the crazy things that will happen because of the rotation. Because we didn't get to do, we did start doing this last year, I believe, right at the rotation, right?
I think we may have talked about it a little.
Yeah, I think we started the podcast right before the big rotation because I remember we did a lot of talking about Ashes of Outlands and the cards and stuff coming out at the beginning of the podcast. So this will be, that'll be very interesting once again. At least we get to talk about it way longer this time. And the lack of lackeys should be a very interesting situation because the lackeys are pretty scammy. And
only
they come out of anything, you know?
It's really only the certain lackeys that can go infinite. And that's been my point with the problem of lackeys forever. It's the ethereal lackey, it's the draconic lackey, and those are the two main just insane value generators, right? Because they can just keep making cards that make cards. But the other one, the deal two, like, you know what it does, and that's it. But the other ones are just continuous.
Only Cobalt lackeys. Only Cobalt.
I don't think we want that either. That would be terrifying if every single lackey was a kobold lackey, right? Or a rush lackey or something. That would also be very horrible. But then again, the rush lackey is now, it is a bad broom. Like, if you think about it. Like,
yeah.
How did we power creep the rush lackey? That used to be really good. But
yeah, rush mechanic is just really good in general.
Yeah, but you can give it to your whole board now for the same cost as the rush lackey. And what's the benefit of using the rush lackey? +1 attack? That's not even worth a whole mana.
But it's not like you main deck it. It's just like randomly generated for free. Would you not like a free rush lackey? You actually have to play broom.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we run lackey generators without knowing what they're going to give us anyway. So that's was the hard part to evaluate about lackeys before they came out, where we couldn't say like, oh, I don't know if Evil Miscreant's going to be good because lackeys seem fairly inconsistent, though their effects individually are powerful for the cost. It was hard to evaluate all of the lackey cards. Like, we also thought Evil Cable Rat was going to be completely horrible just because it was like 2 mana 1/1, get a 1/1.
Yeah, and that's because we undervalued what it produced.
Yeah, and how powerful the lackeys could be when you make their battle cries go off multiple times or something.
Yep. Things. And then without it, Rogue is almost like identityless. Like lackeys, like that encompasses like literally what Rogue is right now. Besides maybe the secret package. So Rogue's got to get some really cool stuff, because it's gonna be hit really, really hard with the lackeys. Oh, bye-bye.
It is kind of peculiar about that, though, how they decided to give the Galakron for Rogue the infinite lackey generation. And then not only was it that, but it was they got the best core class lackey generator out of all of them, which was Evil Miscreant, where you got 2 to your hand on 3. Pretty nuts to think about. I didn't think that was going to be a Rogue thing when it was announced in Shadows.
By the way, anybody in chat who has a question on their mind or is asking a question in chat, just to let you know that we do a question and answer segment at the end of the podcast, which is usually around like the 50-minute mark or so. So just letting you know there. So hold your questions for the end, please. Or I mean, you can always throw out your question in chat. throughout, and other people can start a conversation, or maybe we'll see it and it will relate to the topic. But
Yeah,
we
sometimes we
do
flag them
that.
for later. But
What was that? What?
I say, yeah, sometimes we flag the questions and answer them later.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
That's true.
Yep.
Yep.
um,
Just letting you guys know. Yeah.
For sure.
we
Thank
can
you,
go to the
D-Money.
next segment now, though, which we're going to talk about some cards that make everyone really pissed off. This first one you might have seen before. It punches you in the face and evolves your opponent's entire board into something that costs 1 more mana.
This somehow, somehow this dodged the nerfs that we had just a couple weeks ago. Like, I don't know how this made it through, but it did. And yeah, obviously very overpowered, a core part of basically the best deck that exists right now. I mean, how would you even change this, right? You give it 1 less attack, or you increase mana by 1 the Blizzard way?
I don't think they wanted to change it because it's like about to rotate, right? Like, this is from Galakrond's Awakening.
I mean, they
right?
just changed Bran.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah. A lot of people have been saying like to reduce the attack of this weapon, but that's not going to change how good it is. The main thing, of course, is the evolve.
The attack
and
the attack of the weapon. That's funny.
And the fact that you could like lightning bloom this out and then play Dread Corsairs behind it, stuff like that, it's just too good at 5 mana. It's either you nerf lightning bloom or you nerf Boxspine Knuckles. So yeah, I'd like to see it go to 6 mana. That's the change that I mean, if you put it to 6 mana and you want to make it 5 attack, like that can work, I guess. I don't know. I just think it needs to go to 6 at least.
It's very bold of you to just offer these quick Shaman balance changes when we've kind of learned over the years that balancing Shaman is a bit like astrophysicism or something, because it's impossible somehow. Like,
well, I just
there's
don't
only
like it,
Evolved Shaman,
so we'll just get rid of it.
Galakrond Shaman and Shit Shaman for the entire year. So
yeah, I mean, if you want to hire me on the balance team, good.
The question is,
I'm
like,
available.
we shouldn't think about like how do we destroy Evolved Shaman. That's an easy
Yes,
question
we
to
should.
answer.
It's a terrible mechanic and a terrible type of deck. Let's just get rid of it.
I don't like it. I'm not sticking up for the archetype as being. Yeah, I don't love it either, but I think Shaman should be viable. And the enhancement Shaman feeling thing where you smork a whole bunch and stuff
Horrible.
isn't bad.
Oh,
you think it's horrible?
I just don't like aggressive decks, and I mean that's just like you just play all your green cards. It's similar to Evolve Shaman.
I mean, I don't know though. Like people aren't going to be happy or never happy when you nerf a class out of viability, and I think that's the harder question to answer here. Which it's like, how do you touch this card and still allow Shaman players to have a positive win rate to the point where if you want to play Shaman on ladder, it's a thing you can do, because it's been like over a year since anyone's been able to do that. Though it does feel horrible to play against.
Yeah, but like, if your deck that you play is like the best deck and it gets touched by 1 card by 1 mana and the deck is now unplayable, if that's the argument, the deck is, why does that exist? Why is that 1 card that powerful that it spends an archetype and propels it to number 1? That shouldn't, the whole deck as a whole should be good, right? With just well-balanced cards. That just proves that this card is exceedingly too good if that point comes true.
If you look at a lot of the cards in that deck, they're bad, right? Like, you run like fucking Novice Engineer.
Yeah, if anybody plays against Evolve Shaman and the Shaman does not draw the weapon,
they do nothing.
You are going to
they literally do nothing.
Like the shittiest deck you ever.
Yes, the deck is so bad.
And that's what happened to me yesterday. Like, I played against this guy who had an insane start. I played 2 like 12-17 guys. Like I had played like a Blessing of Authority and then a Braggart on like turn 4 and like, or 5, and like I had like such a big board. He played Fireheart and just got 2 Earth Shocks right away and killed my whole board. He developed like a Sea Giant. He was doing all this stuff. I was like, bro, this game is literally. He even put Vivid Spores on the Sea Giant, like, and his whole board. Like, there was like no way I was gonna win this game.
Play around
he never drew the weapon, and he like that was his whole board. And like I had like a few turns to deal with it, and like I actually won the game because he bricked on the weapon for like or 12 turns, like and he couldn't do anything else. Like he had that board, but that was it. And I was just
Yeah.
chilling. The deck is just not good without that weapon. That weapon's too good. I see people in chat wanting to make the weapon 1 durability. I just don't see them doing that.
Yeah,
ever
it's
with
Yeah,
not
that.
worth
no.
it either. It would just kill
No.
the deck.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You want to know something really interesting though? So about what you were saying about not drawing the weapon, and one thing I learned from playing this deck is you can win the mirrors specifically without drawing the weapon. If long as you get a few revolves and your sea giants and some brooms and shit, and that feels good. I said earlier when we were talking before we did the stream that winning games with Evolved Shaman doesn't even feel good. I forgot about this one instance that does feel good, and it happened multiple times, so it's definitely a thing that you can do, which is you don't draw your weapon and your opponent does in a mirror, and you beat them with brooms and revolves and everything else other than the weapon, and it's totally doable, which I blew my mind. I didn't think it was even a possible concept where you could win games where someone draws the weapon and the other one doesn't, but you can stick sea giants and just keep smacking people in the face with them and revolve them, because essentially both decks win condition is you putting shit on the board. So as long as you have the bigger threats in your hand, even if you don't have the weapon, then like they can't actually effectively do single target removal. It's pretty interesting, but
Yeah, definitely something you have to play. That's like in the shaman mirror, like of course it could be brain dead sometimes, but you do have to really think about how many things you're putting on the board, because you're gonna give your opponent a discounted sea giant or mogu, which it's basically like it's gonna be swing turn into swing turn into swing turn, and yeah, that's a good point
It,
you brought
yeah,
up.
it's one of those decks that literally playing minions could hurt you. And I think this is one of the rare occasions that the more minions you play, the bigger the shaman swing turn becomes. Like you mentioned, Mogu and the Sea Giant for free. And then even just revolving could win games without the weapon. So yeah, one of the reasons why the deck is
if you
probably so
spill
good.
onto board and go super wide, you make your opponent's hand free.
Yep.
So,
Somebody
which
in
is
chat is
another thing to
actually
play around, which sucks actually.
somebody in
And
chat, Makatoni, saying make the weapon revolve instead of evolve.
that's a good nerf,
Interesting.
actually. I like that. I like that more. So it's not just consistently going out of control, turning into more powerful minions. Like you don't
Yeah.
essentially get a double evolve from doing it. Your minions just keep cycling. That would be less oppressive. And
The power level might just be the same then, because revolve is good against your opponent too. So not only is it an offensive weapon, it also can be used to like change your opponent's board if they've got. Okay, just your board. Okay, I thought you meant the whole board. I was like, holy shit! If it turns into revolve, this thing's insane.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't affect it, like says transform your minions into minions.
Okay.
We're talking about nerfs, Rob. We're talking about.
I was like, what? You said revolve.
Which effectively still has the same synergy with Mogu and Sea Giant, because Mogu turns into a 9-drop. So the worst case scenario would be that it essentially transforms into itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thought there. Yeah, I don't know if it would still be OP. I think that would make it pretty fair. Yeah.
I think that's a cool suggestion.
Yeah,
I doubt it will
like
be
it.
implicated though, because it is too cool. That's
Yeah.
usually if you think of a creative solution that makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways, Blizzard probably won't do it. It's more likely that this thing will cost 6 than anything. Let's be honest. Like,
Yeah, when I put out like a prediction list for cards getting nerfed, a lot of people are like, "What, Foxy Fraud? You should touch. They're good. They need to touch the ability, like and like instead like nerfing it one attack doesn't do anything or something like that, you know." And I'm like, these are not really the changes that I would go with myself. But like this is what is probably likely to happen. Like and this is one of those cases where like Boxfine's probably not going to go to 1 durability. They're probably not going to change the entire effect, but they could. You never know. But it's more likely that they would change the
Mana cost.
or the attack of the weapon, probably.
The Blizzard special.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've knocked.
Do you want to get into the next victim?
Yeah. I feel like we've talked about Eddwin quite a bit, just over the course of the podcast, and how he gets involved in the meta. Everybody hates him, and then Rogue maybe isn't that good. We don't see him as much, and then everybody forgets about him. He's not a problem card anymore. But at the moment, currently, he's pretty explosive in Rogue, right? With the Foxy and you can just make turn 2, turn 3, 10-10 pluses. I mean, I have very little games with
Turn
World
1.
Kick Rogue. Even turn 1, yeah. I mean, I played probably 10, 15 games of World Kick, and I had like over a 10-10 Eddwin by turn 3 20% of the time. So
Yeah, I said yesterday on my stream, I think that if you have the coin as rogue, you'd like not even saying that you have to guaranteed have Eddwin in your starting hand or mulligan. I think there's like a 30% chance you're going to get a huge ass Eddwin on turn on like one of the early turns. Like 30% if you have the coin. And it's ridiculous. Like it seems like I'm over exaggerating, but it's like that's legitimately what it feels like.
Every game I play against Rogue, I feel like I'm just shitting my pants the entire fucking time. Like, it's like secret passage. Oh fuck, are they gonna find
Yeah.
it? Then it's like, oh no, next one, another secret passage in the same turn, and you're like, oh shit, they could play Foxy Frog and Fraud, and then Shadowstep and play it anyway, even though they don't have enough mana. And you're, the whole time you're just like, fuck. You know, like the entire game, I'm just watching them go through all their cards, and I'm like, please don't find the ones that work with the other ones that make me lose right now. And yes.
Yeah, and this card wouldn't really be so much of a problem if there was actually like good silence minions in the game, but there's a lot of classes that don't have silence available to them, so they have to resort to using an owl. An owl just sucks in general. So
Spoiler alert, playing the classes with silence when you don't find the silence, when you like hard mulligan for the silence and still lose the game from not having the silence, feels just as shitty.
oh, it feels really bad, yes.
Yes, it's like, oh, I did everything I can to not lose this game and I still lost.
yeah,
Yeah.
tech in 2 sticky fingers against Shaman, never draws them when they have knuckles. It's terrible.
Yep. So
Yep. This card just needs to go. Everybody's talking about it every day. I mean, every day you see on like a Daily Moments clip, or you see on Twitter, you see a post, or probably Reddit as well. 2020 Eddwin on turn 2, 12-12 on turn 1, and it's like these people think they're good. Sorry, but honestly, it's just it happens just too much, way too much. So
Yeah.
I think this card's got to go, and I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are feeling that as well.
And you can make more of them with the World Kick, right? So you have to deal with multiple Edwins possibly during a game, which doesn't really feel that
so
great
nasty,
either.
man.
Yeah.
When a rogue has a full hand filled with World Kick stuff, it is absolutely terrifying too, which is something that you don't really think of, which I've never really actually talked about before, which it's like, okay, my opponent got a whole hand of evocation that they kept. I have like a limited amount of scaredness to that. Like, but like in a full hand of World Kick stuff is just, it's gonna be like all eviscerates and Edwins with like the dude that kills your dudes or one. It's just like the combo pool is nuts. And then what, they get one thief out of that too now? Isn't that like part of that's a combo card, right? Yeah. It's just like the entire combo. The worst thing to get is like head crack and that weapon that also goes face.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The one that's like it's a weapon you equip and it does 2 damage combo.
Oh, the hook
I've died to
scimitar?
that.
Oh no, the
No.
Necro is the 5 mana 2/5 guy. He's pretty awful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a thought. All right.
What's your thought?
All right.
I said this before the podcast to you guys. I've said it before in the past as well. You don't have to get rid of Eddwin. Okay. Eddwin can stay, but we have to either nerf or Hall of Fame Shadowstep. That is like literally the whole reason why Eddwin gets out of control. That is also the reason why World Kick gets out of control and Hanar gets out of control. And just historically, things like Leroy have gotten out of control. Just because Shadowstep is too good.
Well, it's a 0 mana card.
0 mana cards. They're usually
they're a problem.
That's true. So either make it 1 or Hall of Fame it, because if you get rid of Shadowstep, you actually solve like all the problems. Like your opponent's not able to Shadowstep their Hanar and then use it again next turn and generate 20,000 secrets. They're not able to Shadowstep their World Kick after popping off. Or the same thing with Eddwin. They can't Shadowstep the Foxy Fraud and then play it again and then play the Eddwin. It actually like fixes everything. And I've talked about it before also, how you cannot get Shadowstep from Zeph because it's too good, but you can still main deck it together, and it's too good when it pulls off when you get it off there. There's just like so many scenarios where Shadowstep is just overpowered, and it's been that way for so long. So like I've wanted Shadowstep to be gone for like years now, and I think this is like the time when they rework the classic and basic set. I feel like that's gonna get reworked or it's gonna get moved out. And
That's a good point.
if you wanna save Edwin, that's your way. My
I
opinion.
think D-Money, there's a lot of truth to what he's saying about Shadowstep being a powerful card. I do think the one thing that like people need to think about when they're talking about ruining things like Shadowstep, and I said this to Dan before we were fucking live, which is that like that card is what makes Rogue Rogue to a degree. It is one card that's been in like every single Rogue deck for the last like 4 or 5 years. It's a very important card of the identity of the class, and the feeling of playing a card, bouncing it back to your hand, and playing it again is kind of what gives you that like nimble rogue-like feeling to the class that we all kind of identify as being a staple to what it does. And so nerfing Shadowstep just seems a bit like it seems like it wouldn't be very cool for the people that love Rogue.
I mean, Northshire Cleric for people that love Priest, same kind of deal, right?
Yeah, but Priest, the rework, I think they
That's
did a
just a
pretty good
draw
job.
card. Shadowstep's an original effect that does something completely unique.
I mean, they're completely different cards, but Northshire Cleric was like the face behind Priest for forever. It's been a staple in like every single deck, and it's the same thing with Shadowstep pretty much. And they're going to be reworking the class. Like you said, they did a great job on reworking Priest. Hey, they could do a great job on reworking
So I
Rogue.
think if they might rework Shadowstep, but it might be, just as cool or better. I mean, we don't know what they're gonna do with it, right? So
I do think one thing that needs to be said that does support D-Money's thesis about the concept of Shadowstep being removed from the game is the introduction of Tenwu and Madness. They printed a card that was a legendary that has a very Shadowstep-like effect, though different, on the card. So if they were to remove Shadowstep from the game, there was still a legendary card in the game that gave an effect that was similar, if not better, in some situations and worse in others.
good point.
Which, kind of alludes to them doing that, I would say.
Mhm.
Because they do all these things and like they plan ahead for this kind of shit. So I don't know.
Mhm.
I assume that like Tenmu's existence will kind of allows them to remove Shadowstep without aggravating the whole rogue base with the creation of like a new concept of rogue, which is very scary for rogue players. Myself, I once identified as a rogue player at a period of time, and I guess that gives it a little bit more hope. But I don't know, man. Like messing with Shadowstep is scary to me.
Yeah, I mean it's a
person.
big thing. I don't think it's really going to happen, but I think that I mean I see a problem, I come up with a solution, and that's the solution to me. That's been a solution for a while, to a lot of things, and I don't know. I mean Leroy Shadowstep was too good. Edwin with the Shadowstep is too good. Hanar with Shadowstep is too good. I'm sensing a theme. I don't know. That's just me.
Well,
But we can move
moving.
on to the next
Yeah,
thing.
the card that
The next card is
combos
kind of
with
a part of
Edwin.
what we were talking about. I think they're
Yeah.
gonna get this instead of Eddie. With the next balance changes we see, I think our Foxy friend is gonna get Foxy fucked. A little bit.
You think he's gonna get the
Well,
2/2 treatment?
I think he might get the he either get the 2/2 treatment or they make it say cost 1 less, which would be even worse for the rogues out there. Because then you have to play it twice to get your Edwin for free, which I'm sure if they do nerf, it will happen against me. I'll lose games because of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, this card is literally a free 3/2, with the upside of getting the Edwin out in in ways that you should not be able to get it out. But it's besides the fact that you get Edwin out like that, it's a free 3/2. You play it, you play Miscreant. It's just an easy combo activator. It's just too good across the board. It has to be changed in some way. I had suggested 2/2, just because I feel like that's something Blizzard would do over the changing the effect. But I think the effect should be changed because it's just if you change it to 2/2, you're still gonna see the same exact things happen with Eddwin. So, yeah.
Pocket Aces in chat says that he thinks it should cost 1 less, but should carry over on turns, which I think would
That
be a
would never
much more
happen.
creative and interesting nerf than what Blizzard is most likely to do, which is like hit the stat line of making it have 2 attack or something like instead. That seems more Blizzard.
That
But
change has a lot of implications in it. I
Yeah.
think you have to think about a lot of things. I can't see that happening at all. But that's an interesting take. Yes.
I think it sounds fun. Like it has more creativity of building more rogue decks that making this card useful in a longer kind of way. But
Mm-hmm.
this card just burns you out, man. Every time I see my opponent play this thing, I think I'm gonna lose. Like they just throw
You
one on
probably
the
will.
board. I'm like, shit. There you go. Here's gonna be the giant 1919 Eddwin.
Yeah.
Whenever it doesn't happen, I call that a victory. I'm like, sweet. Now I get another turn to live. I get to play a giant Eddwin next to it.
1919 Eddwin sounds really hard to pull off.
It's
but-
really
Hey,
hard
I
to
made a
get that one.
30-30 once.
No, I'm
the other-
saying
last
because
week.
you like literally can't get a 19 because it's an odd number.
Not with
But-
that attitude, Dan.
Yeah, what the heck, man?
I
You're
don't know.
not trying hard enough, and you got to hand buff
Yeah.
it first for 1/1, and then you can
Oh.
Come on, man.
yeah,
I
we
figured
could-
that out.
Yeah, these are the cards that everybody talks about: Knuckles, Eddwin, and Foxy Fraud. You hear it all the time. We could probably move on to the next topic we got here if you want.
Yeah.
Yes.
The next topic before Q&A was the holiday sale.
It's a funny topic, or the lack thereof, right?
Yeah. What holiday sale? What are you talking about?
Since
What?
I brought up this, I'll kind of go over it. So on the holiday sale chat, there's everything got its own holiday stuff. Call of Duty got its own holiday stuff. Overwatch got its own
Yay.
holiday stuff. But then Hearthstone, you see here, you can buy the Battlegrounds stuff for the same price, or the Tavern Pass for the same price. So there's not really much of a sale for us, unfortunately. It would have been cool if there was. I'm sure a lot of people would have, took advantage of those savings, and I wish I could have as well. But it's a shame that we actually don't really have a holiday sale, but all the other games do.
So in Blizzard's defense, I'm not a Blizzard shill, guys. Don't harass me in chat. But in Blizzard's defense, last time they came out with a bundle where it was the Give Thanks bundle or whatever, everybody was just like saying like, fuck Blizzard, you guys just want money and all that. So maybe that was what deterred them this time from just like putting out another sale right now, just because they don't want to seem like they're just trying to take your money. But at the same time, people are still going to be making purchases regardless, and
I don't think that
Anytime-
had anything to do with this.
anytime
Yeah,
they come out with a bundle, I'm just playing devil's
But couldn't they just
advocate here.
they already have things on sale, right? So just take that price and make it cheaper. They don't have to come up with something new. Just take shit that you're already selling and just give it 20% off. Like, you're already selling it anyway.
Here's an optimistic, positive thing to talk about while the sale is going on. There's a whole bunch of these digital bundles you can buy that give card backs, and you can buy them, and you can get card backs that you haven't been able to get for like a long period of time, again, for a discounted price. If you want like the StarCraft card back, which looks really awesome, you can get from this like digital bundle and spend $40 on your card back. But yeah, you want it, you can do it. Life, it exists. So
Yeah, the
Yeah.
good thing about these bundles, of course, is that they're bundles, and you're always going to get a good deal. Like, you might say, "Oh, well, I'm still spending $20 for 20 packs. Like, that's so much." But like, compared to what it usually is, you're
It's
always
cheaper.
getting a good deal on a bundle. So it's always nice to have that option for players that don't have the full collection. So, and I'm sure a lot of people were looking forward to that bundle
yeah.
coming. So feels kind of
Yeah.
bad, but
Yeah.
try
is what
again
it is.
next year. You know, might-
Try again
there might
next
be,
Christmas.
there might be like a New Year's bundle or something. I'm not sure.
I'm sure there will be another bundle soon, man. Like the mini set we were already talking about is probably, we kind of dialed back on things we were going to talk about this week because of the fact that we were anticipating that the mini set bundle was going to be coming out this week, or the mini set announcement with some of the cards might be coming out this week, or another round of balance changes. I imagine there will be some kind of announcement this upcoming Tuesday. And if not this Tuesday, it might be pushed back another whole week for a bigger announcement, I would imagine as well. But
yeah, I mean, they should be also announcing the new season, the new Masters events for 2021 for
Mhm.
like the competitive scene. So, yeah, we might just see a bunch of announcements get thrown at us like the beginning of the year here, and which is very exciting. But in the meantime, we have this thing on the screen here. What is this Q? What's Q mean, and what's A mean?
This is
That.
Q&A time, chat. This is where you can ask any question in chat that revolves hopefully about Hearthstone, and we will discuss it if it's a good question and we feel like a lot of people in chat would benefit from it, or any of the topics we've spoken about today. If you asked a question about it, which we had a couple that we didn't hit on, if you like those answered, we'll be doing that
I
now.
saw a couple people talking about Ticketus Warlock in chat.
Oh, yeah,
You guys
yeah,
wanna
yeah.
Talk about that for a brief second, because that deck got good again this week. A lot of people hate playing against it, and feel some feelings about Ticketus. What do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely a deck that doesn't feel good to play against because they're getting rid of all your cards that you put in your deck specifically to play the game with, you know? So it definitely feels bad, and there's good reason for why it's becoming more popular. It's because the meta did slow down ever since there were the changes to the more aggressive decks like Demon Hunter and Highlander Hunter. So definitely makes sense that it's becoming more popular, but I still think Ticketus is not too strong. It's very strong, but I mean maybe the stats could be changed if anything, like a little bit, but
That's a realistic change.
yeah, like it does take a decent while to get online. Typically, I've had actually my opponent play 3 Ticketus against me, like 7, 8, and 9, turns 7, 8, and 9. Literally 3 of them because they used 2 philosophies, and it was
Yeah.
actually like that was bonkers, and I could not do anything, and I lost.
That's like
That's a
one
crazy
in like a
combination.
30 game though. I tried that
Yes.
deck to just like, yeah, that's a high roll.
Yeah, like
That's-
that's not. It's not like an Edwin thing where you're getting it
Yeah.
off like every other game. Like this, I think the card is fine. I think you could still win without 10 cards in your deck. Like if you put on pressure against those decks, against that deck, then it's very difficult for your opponent to get out Ticketus and still like be okay on board, or with their life total. So I think it's fine, in my opinion.
I had an OTK Demon Hunter game against a Ticketus Warlock that was like so feels bad that it was kind of hilarious on my stream the other day, where I was like, he's going to Ticketus me. I need to get my combo pieces in hand now. We play all the draw cards now. We need to find the Il'gynoth. We need to get at least a single Moarg in hand. And then like I kept drawing everything, and I was just drawing like more Chaos Strikes and Spectral Sights and Skulls and cards that draw the cards. And I was like, no, these aren't the cards we need. And then all of a sudden he played his Ticketus, and then I hit 1 Il'gynoth, 2 Moargs, and 2 Fellscream Blasts. And I was like, he just hit the whole combo.
Dude, he
in
helped you get to your Zeph really quickly. That was very nice of him.
It was the one time I was playing a build that didn't run Zeph too.
Aw.
Of course.
I had the exact reverse story of that. I was playing against a Cthulhu deck, and I couldn't get Ticketus out before they had Cthulhu pieces. Like, I couldn't mill the pieces. So he finally had Cthulhu in his deck. I finally got my Ticketus activated. There was 6 cards in his deck. I milled 5, and the one I didn't mill was Cthulhu, and he won.
I saw that clip. Very sad times, but you got the content, so it was worth it.
Yeah,
that's
as long as you get the content, then it's there, right?
Yeah, it was a loss, but it was like a funny meme loss. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But I've actually played a bunch of Ticketus Warlock, and it's just very slow. You know, you have to play Militia, double Nether, and you have got to play the big spells before you can play the Ticketus. And you know, this needs to all be in your hand, and then having like basically a dead 6-drop in your hand isn't a great feeling, especially against Shaman and other very aggressive decks. He only really does well against the OTK or control decks, and even then, not always will you have him in hand and or an activator for him. So I think he's fine. If you increase the mana cost of him,
it makes him significantly worse because then you can't Malicia into him. You'd have to rely on Twisting Nethers and things of that nature, which aren't like, you don't want to just use that just because he's in your hand. You want a reason to use it. So yeah, he'd be a really weird card to balance if he does become more of a problem.
Yeah,
I'm seeing this in chat, and I'm also seeing this a lot in my community in like a lot of places as well, where people like really want Ticketus to be nerfed.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yes.
It's honestly just a super feels bad card. It's not actually that good. And I know it sucks when you watch it burn the only ability you have to win the game, or you know what I mean, and you lose the game because of the Ticketus, but it's actually honestly really not that powerful. Like in the spectrum of Hearthstone, like if you have the access to
It's
a variety
still
of decks,
I think it's still very powerful overall, like just the effect, but
the effect's
yeah.
powerful. It's just hard to get the effect off, and
Like
it's
I said before,
awkward.
like I've had people mill 10 cards with it
And you
against
still
me, and
win.
I've won multiple
Yeah,
times.
and that's because fatigue doesn't matter until you have no cards left anyway. So you just assume all the cards it milled were cards that you never were going to draw anyway, or be at the bottom of the deck, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
and that's the way you guys have to look at fatigue, right? So he mills 5 cards and you have 10 left. Just assume the 5 cards that he got rid of were just going to be at the bottom of your deck anyway. So it doesn't matter if you lost them. It only matters when you have absolutely no cards left, which then, yeah, the cards are OP and you hate them, right? But until that point, it doesn't really like change the way the game would have played out.
Only specific decks actually don't have the ability to continue without 5 of them. Most of the time when you're building a Hearthstone deck, you build it with the contingency plan that you're not going to be able to see at least a third of your deck in a general game unless it's an incredibly draw heavy deck, right? So burning 5 cards from your deck generally shouldn't matter if you're not playing a Hearthstone deck that draws through its entire deck every time. So the only things that really matters on are like hard control decks, where you do need every single card to answer a specific assortment of your opponent's threats or something. But in most decks in the spectrum of Hearthstone, even in the meta right now, that doesn't really affect. Like Rogue's is gonna just straight up like end the game or put you in a situation where it's almost over or something like that before it gets to the point where you can philosophy a whole bunch of Ticketus and then rip through the Rogue.
So Chad is bringing up a really good point. Also, really good question by Ed that I want to get to in a little bit. Yeah, Chad's bringing up a really good point about philosophy maybe being the problem, and philosophy does maybe make combo DH a problem as well, right?
Well, you do use it to duplicate Moarg, so it gives you Moarg contingency.
Yeah.
It allows you to kind of manipulate your hand a little bit more.
It allows you to dump like a Moarg whenever you want, essentially,
because you're going to
get
for
another
the
one.
OTK deck. It actually like nerfing philosophy to 2 mana would be very, 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 very impactful to the OTK.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting to think about philosophy being the problem with Ticketus and with combo DH. So good suggestion there. I can actually see
DH
them.
probably doesn't deserve a nerf though, because like
it
statistically doesn't actually have any.
I don't want to have this argument again.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We're gonna agree to disagree on this one. But yeah, good question by Ed Dwarth in chat. Deck tracker shows a piece of Cthulhu when your opponent draws it. Is that fair to use it now? To use deck tracker? I mean, deck tracker is OP. Literally, like that should not be a thing.
It's not fair, but that's not our problem. That's basically what he's saying. It's like, whatever. It shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't be able to see what they draw. That's like, it's like a coding problem between like two.
It is a coding problem, yes.
Yeah.
And,
you shouldn't be able to see that. It's not fair, but we can't do shit about it.
I've also noticed another thing with deck tracker is if you play the card Mischief Maker, sometimes it'll show you the card that you gave your opponent and the card that they gave you right away when you play it.
What?
Yeah, and sometimes it shows one or the other. It's so weird, dude.
Well, it's because no
I
one
don't
plays that
understand.
card, so it was never coded
Yeah, that's
correctly.
what it was. Yeah, that's what it is.
The card has actually never been played in its life besides by D-Money, so nobody really knows what that card's coding is. It just does stuff.
Yeah, but it's pretty similar to the Cthulhu thing, and yeah, that sucks for Cthulhu because like
I love that you
You-
play that card though, Dan. Just
Thank
side note, that is hilarious to me whenever you like land things with it. Like I watched you play it the other day and then draw your opponent's Il'gynoth, and then
Yeah.
you had to like wait a few turns to actually play it on the board to show them that's what you got, and that was hilarious to me. Where
yeah,
it's
I was like, I thought I wasn't sure if they were combo. I thought they were like maybe I thought
were
they were soul
combo.
DH because they had played the Panthera, so I was like still like iffy. And then somebody in my chat was like, "Oh, they're playing Panthera now." I'm like, "All right, fine, I'll play it." And then they just insta concede. And I'm like,
it was weird
"Hell yeah!"
because it's like who plays Panther in the combo deck too? Because I think put
Yeah,
that
you
point out
did,
before.
yeah.
That's a bad card to put in combo DH.
That's been a thing though. I don't know. There's been like some different iterations.
a
of the
bad
deck.
thing. Don't do that, guys.
Sure, probably.
Don't do that.
All right. We are at an hour. I don't know if we want to answer one question or just call it here because I know an hour is still over than our time that we normally want to do.
We could end it here. I think this is a good spot to end it.
Okay.
I
but
like the
nerf,
question
nerf
about
deck
the
tracker.
difference between Cage Match, Custodian, and Knuckles. Do you think there's like a difference between like people are saying like, yo, you can't nerf Knuckles because Custodian is what made it a problem? Do you? I mean, it's kind of true. Custodian's what made the Knuckles really consistent.
Yeah.
I
the
like
cheap-
Custodian existing as a card in Shaman though.
Me too. It's not like overpowered, the card itself. It's very
It's the
good.
consistency it allows the high rolly deck to have.
Yeah, like 2/2 is now understated. You might think like that's like average stats for a 2-drop, but like nowadays a 2-drop is gonna be like 3/3 probably average. Like as far as like stats or like as far as like ability making it become a 3/3 or something like that. So yeah, I think Custodian, if anything, I mean they can make it a 1/2, I guess, but I think the main target, the main thing is just the weapon, and the fact that you could bring back the weapon with Horde Pillager, it just makes it way too good, way too consistent. Yeah.
And if you increase the mana cost of the Cage Custodian, so you can't play him on turn 2, it just helps box spawn because it just evolves it a minion above that mana cost. So you get a 4/4 or a 4 mana card or a 5 mana card instead of a 3 mana card now when you attack with it. So yeah, the Custodian I don't think is the big issue. He is very good. Keep in mind he is a fantastic card, but I don't think he's I think the Knuckles definitely is the source. Yeah, the root
I
of the
like to
problem.
imagine that there will be another weapon that Shaman can use in a healthy manner with that card in the next year.
Yeah, the whack
The wacko, yeah.
Yeah.
That card is just so unexciting, though. You know, like, I hope there's another weapon that's
Alright.
actually more fun. That's worth.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the
Sure.
fist. I love the fist.
The fist is sick.
That will
Like,
be rotating though. Yeah.
mm,
Don't
Yeah,
say it like
I
that.
think.
yeah,
I
I don't
hope
know.
not.
Like, I like the concept of like tutoring the fist with the Custodian. That's awesome. That's just control Shaman greedy juiciness, and I love it.
Yes, it's my favorite.
I don't know. I hope Custodian stays in the game because he makes them keep printing Shaman weapons, right? Because like there's more value of each set of next year if they print a weapon for Shaman that it's even more powerful because there's a minion that tutors that's an early game minion. It just allows the weapon design thing for Shaman to be even more powerful than before in terms of a deck building perspective. And I
Anything but
like-
a rune spear.
right. I mean,
Anything
honestly,
is better than a rune spear.
yeah.
Please
I mean,
never again.
Shaman's creativity with the things that they're doing have been so weird, man. I hope that they come up with like an entirely new.
Yeah, I
perspective
mean,
for Shaman.
this upcoming year with the classic and basic reworks and the rotation, like this is like the make or break for Hearthstone, like the direction of Hearthstone, pretty much.
That is
like,
true.
I would like to think that they're putting a lot of effort and thought into all these changes that they're gonna make, because like this is going to set the tone for the whole entire year, and just like the whole competitive scene in Hearthstone and like the audience, like the player base, and yeah, it's a big deal. But
Yeah.
it's super exciting to see what they come up with.
It's
'cause
probably been done for a while, and I imagine they also will probably do some crazy shit in the redesign, like actually touch like a hero power of a character or something. I
Ooh.
wouldn't be surprised because when they do those giant set rotations, they're not holding back punches with the crazy stuff they decide to do. Like last year, they were like, "There's a new class, by the way." You know, like this year, like if they were like, "By the way, Shaman's hero power is different. All the totems are different shit." You know, or like,
Yeah.
you know, like that's not even crazy to imagine, like at this circumstance. Or if they were like, "Oh, by the way, Shadowstep is gone, but Rogue's hero power is no longer give it a dagger. It's something else."
You
You
got
know,
a
it would be
lackey.
like,
Yeah.
you get a lackey. That would be crazy. Dude, that'd be crazy. Yeah, I don't. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna go in a crazy direction, guys.
Yeah. I mean, we saw the changes with Priest and how like that deck feels very, very different now with like renews and whatnot. So imagine if they did it to like 4 or 5 classes, that'd just be nuts. That's so much at a time, and it's something exciting to look forward to. And I hope it's fresh. I hope they, like D-Money said, they do a good job at making it feel good in a direction we would like Hearthstone to continue in. But yeah, with that, I appreciate you guys coming and joining for another podcast. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for being here, guys. It's been wonderful. I hope you have a great stream, Warshack. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
of
thanks for
course.
having me. Good episode. This was episode number 40, guys. So you might be saying, "What? I just heard of the Metabreakers podcast today. You guys have been doing this for 40 weeks. That's insane. Is there anywhere I could binge watch all of that, all of those episodes?" Well, actually,
Yeah.
we do have a YouTube where we have all the episodes on there, and we post it every like Wednesday or so.
Yeah.
And we're looking to get it on all the other platforms, all the podcast platforms. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, if you want to check it out, it's on there. It's also on the Hype Horizon website. Just letting you guys know. But yeah, it was a good episode, guys. Good to be here, of course, and hopefully we have some really exciting stuff to talk about next week. Yeah.
Yes,
good.
hopefully next week we'll have new cards and crazy shit to talk about. But other than that, have a wonderful stream and everything, man. Peace out, guys.
Thank you.
Later.
Peace out,
Rob.
boys.
Peace out,
Later,
Draco.
Gators.